So I think it's important when you're looking at a product, and when I'm screening products, like I talked about my criteria, I always want to look at the parent company. I want to look at, there's nothing, I think it's very important that you have good leadership from the company. So the Zilis Company that manufactures Ultracell, this is the president or the CEO and founder, Stephen Thompson, and his wife, Angie Thompson. He started this company. He started this company actually after he made a trip to Haiti. He's been successful in a number of other international companies. He's very experienced in supplement type of companies. But he took a trip to Haiti, and he was really touched or really moved by the extreme poverty that he saw there, and children actually that were dying. And so he came back actually, and the story I heard was that he came back and he approached the company he was working with at the time and said that he wanted to start a company because he was personal friends with the man that started the Tom's Company that had that type of an approach where we could start a supplement company that had a give back kind of a focus from the beginning, and they didn't want to do that. So he quit and he started Zilis from the beginning. So they started Zilis in 2015, and we're going to get into the growth later. Actually, the 700% isn't exactly accurate. Since they introduced the Ultracell product, which is the flyer you have in your hand, their company has grown by 1,600%, and that was last November they introduced that product. So we'll talk about that. The man here, Dr. De Silva, is important that he's their chief medical officer, and you might have heard of him. He's on television often. He actually is kind of a pretty famous doctor. He's a medical doctor, but he organized the first functional medicine hospital in the United States, and he teaches other doctors all across the country about functional medicine. And he's regularly interviewed on like the Dr. Oz show and NBC and ABC. And he's their chief medical officer, and he's actually the one that actually developed the Ultracell product and the Ultracell technology. Stephen Thompson actually recruited him to join their team to make this product. And we'll talk about what's special about this product compared to other CBD hemp products on the market. Maybe?
No.
Okay. All right, so this gets back to the endocannabinoid system that we talked about before, and that we abbreviated the ECS, endocannabinoid system. And so, as I mentioned, we have cannabinoids that we endogenously produce in our body. And there's receptors for those cannabinoids in every cell in our body. You can think of it like a hormonal system. But the interesting thing is that especially the nervous system and the immune system has a lot of receptors for these cannabinoids to bind to. It was relatively recently discovered. And what I mean by that is in comparison to our other hormones like thyroid hormone and testosterone and estrogen, we've known about those literally for centuries, for hundreds of years. But the endocannabinoid system was really just fully understood. Some of the molecules were discovered back in the 1960s and 1970s, but actually understanding how it works wasn't really discovered until the 1990s. So only about 25, 30 years ago. And so it really is a medical breakthrough that impacts your entire health, and it's something that we're still learning more about. Also, there was an issue because there was a prohibition against the use of hemp from the 1930s until recently. So it was hard for universities even to study hemp. The interesting thing about that is historically, if you look back at this, the biggest user of hemp prior to 1937 was Eli Lilly and Merck and the drug companies. It was actually one of the most widely prescribed drugs before that prohibition. So there's a long, long history of hemp being used, but just in the United States over the last 70, 80 years, it hasn't been used. And it's really the engine for homeostasis. So the interesting thing about the endocannabinoid system is when the phytocannabinoids bind to the receptor sites, they actually tend to have a balancing or homeostatic effect. So they tend to bring down functions that are too high, and they tend to bring up functions that are too low, which is really key because honestly, as a chiropractor, one of the first things that when I started investigating this is I thought, well, this is too good to be true because I know if I give a man testosterone because his testosterone's too low, what's going to happen is then his body stops producing it itself, and it causes an actual deficiency. So you have to then keep giving them the testosterone. And it doesn't work that way with the cannabinoids. Because of the way they bind to the sites, you don't get addicted to them. They don't have any kind of buildup in your system because they have this moderating or balancing effect. Okay? And they basically fuel the endocannabinoid system. Many of us don't have a deficiency of those endo or endogenous made cannabinoids in our body. The other interesting thing is that from what I understand that hemp is actually one of the oldest cultivated plants in the world. So I think the next slide actually talks about that it goes back 6,000 years. No, I think it's a couple, yes. So prior to 1937, hemp was largely used not only for drugs, like I said, with Eli Lilly and Merck and those companies, but it was fed to animals. People ate it. Like you can, I don't know if anybody else does this, but I buy hemp seeds at Costco now. You can buy them and eat them. So we had hemp in our diet, and most humans for thousands of years have had hemp in their diet. But since 1937 in America, we've been devoid of those natural hemp chemicals in our diet. So full spectrum hemp is really important. It's rich in phytocannabinoids. There's thousands of studies. Like I said, I could have gone on for hours with the studies that I mentioned. Those were just a few that I thought were important to mention. And as I mentioned, it supplements the endocannabinoid system. So one of the issues is that you'll see on the market sometimes there's CBD isolates. So the problem when we isolate one component of a natural product is often that drives up the chances of side effects. There's in the product Ultracell, it's a full spectrum hemp oil. So you're getting all of the beneficial chemicals. I think there's over 60 cannabinoids in it. There's terpenes. Terpenes, if you're not familiar with it, are basically, if anybody's familiar with essential oils, terpenes are basically the chemical that give essential oils their smell and their effect. They're readily absorbed into the body. Flavonoids have anti-cancer effects or, beneficial. You find flavonoids in fruits and vegetables and other things. The hemp contains vitamins and minerals, omegas. So it really is that full spectrum works better. So the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So putting it all together, and actually in the cannabinoid research, they call that the entourage effect, that there's this greater effect. That's why the one study I mentioned showed in their study that there was 100-fold benefit of combining several of the elements of the full spectrum hemp oil versus just looking at a CBD isolate. Okay. Are you going to just do it? Thank you. I'll just pretend that I'm doing it. Okay. All right. So, like I said, I researched this for a long time, and really there's no other product that even comes close to the Ultracell. It's organically grown. It's the gold standard. It's the #1 selling full spectrum hemp oil in the country. Organic is really important. So a hemp plant is it's an efficient plant. We call it, sometimes people refer to it as a weed, And so it takes nutrients from the ground. So that's a really good thing that it takes minerals and it takes good nutrients from the ground, but it also will pull pesticides, herbicides, even heavy metals from the ground. So it is one of those products that it's really important that it's organically grown. Zilis and Ultracell, they actually control their product from what's called seed to bottle. So their product all comes from Colorado, and they literally control the planting, the harvesting, the processing. Theirs is processed naturally with CO2. There's some other chemical ways that hemp oil is sometimes processed that's cheaper but isn't as healthy for you. And this product also is pet friendly. So that's important. Some other CBD oils on the market use xylitol as a sweetener, which can be fatal for dogs. It can cause a fatal hypoglycemia or a drop in their blood sugar. So, thank you. So a big thing though that sets this company apart that really makes it not even comparing apples to apples with other products. I have patients all the time since we've been carrying this, they'll come in with a brochure from another company and say, well, can you look at this? Tell me what you think of this product. And some of them aren't too bad, but this is really what separates Ultracell from all the other products. So Dr. De Silva actually came up with this Ultracell delivery system or technology. And what this is here, and you can look up the full study if you want, it was actually a study done at Mayo Clinic just last February, where they gave participants the Ultracell under the tongue, like I have people taking it. And what this showed is that they did blood tests at every hour for 12 hours. And it showed they had a fast onset, and then they had between 80 and 94% blood levels or bioavailability. They had absorption of it for 12 hours. And actually the study design was to do it for 12 hours. they had still those levels at 12 hours. So we don't know exactly how long that continued, but we can guarantee through good hard science that they had 80 to 94% absorption for 12 hours. Now that's really important because by comparison, now I'm going to start this sentence and you can finish it. So oil and water don't mix, right? So because we're looking at a hemp oil, there's a very limited ability of your body to absorb oils. So all the other hemp oils on the market are absorbed at maybe 3 to 6%. And even with that, they have to go through your digestive system, down to your intestines where your gallbladder dumps bile in before they can even start to be broken down to where you absorb them. So you don't have a fast onset. So this is literally the only company that I could find that had hard science showing bioavailability, and this satisfies one of my criteria when I talked about it being cost-effective and also being bioavailable, that it actually does what it's supposed to do. So this is a huge, huge thing that sets this company apart. Now, one of the things I also like about this company is that there's one product. It comes in a couple different flavors, and they basically have two sizes. They have the regular size, which for most people, the way I recommend they take it is about a month's supply. But they also have what they call minis, and it's a little 1-week trial size. So because about 80% of people notice benefits with this supplement, the trial mini size is great because people can try it for a week without investing a whole lot of money and see what kind of a change it makes in their body, because many people it makes a difference. There's especially certain things that it helps with that people notice sometimes almost immediately. There's other things where it might take a month or two to get the maximum benefit, but many people notice a difference just within a first week. I'm not even pushing it anymore, I'm just pretending. All right, the company also has 3 boosters, and these share that same ultra technology for that bioavailability, and they're designed to use along with the ultracell, or they can also be used independently of the ultracell. These are non-cannabinoid supplements, so these don't contain any hemp. So if for some reason you lived in a state we should talk about that. So federally, hemp is legal in all 50 states, but some states are still have laws on the books that make it not legal in those states. That's still being debated. In Indiana, it's completely legal. But the agricultural bill of this year has language in it to change hemp to a commodity like corn and soybeans. And we'll get to that in a second about this whole huge growth that's going to happen, not just in the supplement portion of hemp, but in the hemp industry like nationwide. It's going to be huge, and all the predictors are that it's going to grow. But anyway, so if you have somebody that can't legally access hemp, these are non-cannabinoid products. And so there's the Ultra Dream is to help with sleep. The Ultra Edge is to help with focus. And the Ultra Ice is to help with inflammation. So the Ultra Ice, for example, contains turmeric and some other anti-inflammatory herbs. But turmeric I mentioned that hemp oil is only absorbed at like 3 to 6%. Turmeric is a great supplement. A lot of you, I might have recommended that you take it, but it has a very poor absorption rate, so it's hard for your body to take it in. So this increases the absorption of that. Okay. And then this gets back to that video I started with. We're kind of going to end with this portion where we started. So like I said, one of the things that makes me feel good about using this company is they have the top quality product. I know it's bioavailable, it's safe and organic, but it also from the beginning was started to give back. I think I heard that Zilis now, they use this company called Vitamin Angels to make donations for the multiple vitamins and the prenatal vitamins. And I believe that I heard that they surpassed the big guys, like I can't remember if it was CVS or Walgreens, that are much larger companies than Zilis, with the amount of money that they've donated to Vitamin Angels and the changes that they've made. So globally and in all 50 states, and these are high quality supplements that you can't take somebody that's extremely malnourished and give them a big steak because their digestive system, it can literally kill them. So you have to start off bringing their nutrition up gradually, and these supplements are specifically designed for people that have severe malnutrition to in many cases, really save their life.
Hi, I'm Howard Schiffer, the president and founder of Vitamin Angels. I'd like to personally thank our friends at Zilis for helping us make an impact in the lives of mothers and children around the world. But don't just take it from me. See for yourself what you've helped us accomplish.
In the past year, you've helped us reach 61 million.
61 million! 61 million children and moms.
Expand our reach to 1,200 field partners. 1,200 field partners.
In 74 countries.
74 countries. 74 countries around the world and every U.S. state.
We're excited to be expanding our prenatal multivitamin program, and we're doing that in an effort to prevent newborn deaths related to micronutrient deficiencies.
Together, we will reach millions of women and save lives on a global scale.
And we'll keep working to give every child from the day he or she is born the chance to lead a healthy and a productive life.